Hello, welcome back to my channel, Thrifty Day. On today's episode, I'm going to be showing you my brand new personal journal. I made this journal myself from cover to cover. If you wanted to see my process and sort of a blog style step-by-step DIY, you can find that on Patreon. I'll link all my Patreon information down below. And yeah, so this is the journal charm. It's removable. I used it making it with a surprise scoop that I sell in my Etsy shop. I believe it's sold out right now, but I will be restocking that soon. It has 4 signatures. I love these inside covers. They're from a vintage book. I just love the colors. I love the way they look. And I'll just give you a really quick flip through. There's a whole bunch of different styles of pages, different sizes, different paperweights. For me, it keeps the journal really interesting and makes me want to go to it very often. Some of the types of paper that I used were vintage book pages. There was Happy Mail, things that I've been sent in the mail from lovely followers. That was actually from a magazine. It was one of the Matterhorn climbers at Disneyland. There's vintage stationery, just printed cardstock, learn to draw books, vintage dictionary pages. I just like to keep it really interesting. And I try to use a lot of different paper from the 70s, since the cover has a very 70s vibe, and in the window is 70s fabric. So that was kind of the goal, and I was really happy with how it turned out. I'm very excited to work in it, and I hope that you guys like it too. If you wanted a longer, more detailed flip through, again, you can find that on Patreon. I will link my Patreon information in the description box below. I did a long, super chatty flip through, and I explained all the pages in the papers and the methods and techniques I used to create this journal. So I'm hoping to be in this journal for about 6 months. I think it's pretty big, and I'll have plenty of pages to fill in. And I'm very excited. So let's get into my very first layout in my personal journal. In addition to making my journal, I also made this portfolio to keep all of my personal ephemera in. That way, whenever I grab something from my daily life, I could just stick it right in this portfolio, and the portfolio is thin enough that I could just slide it right onto my bookcase. So I picked a few things out for today's layout. And some of those things include photos and receipts. I'm going to be doing this layout from when my best friends and I just went to Disneyland a few weeks ago. And I have some scraps and other goodies that I want to try to fit into this layout. That Snow White page is so beautiful. That's from a pin I bought when we went to the parks. And these are some new stickers I got from Daiso. So this is the first page. I'm going to save that for something else, but I'm just gonna start with this beautiful page, mainly because I loved that that the words were there on that image, because I knew I wanted to just put some paint over it so that I could have journaling. So that's what I did. I used a really pretty French blue color, and now I have this decoupage paper from Your Creative Studio, an old Your Creative Studio box. And I'm just going to use my glue stick and put that decoupage paper right down on the other side. I also knew that I wanted to add a flower, a large sort of statement flower. I have this one that's a sticker that I chose to go with because I just think it looked a little bit more cohesive. So I like the way this looks, although I do feel like I'm missing something there close to the center. I had this scrap from a vintage Disney book, and to me that just looked perfect. Everything from the colors to the content. So I'm going to use my ruler, and I'm just going to trim it to fit, and then I will use my glue stick and put it right down right into the center of the journal, and I just love the way it looks. I know it's very eclectic, and maybe it's too busy. Like, you may be looking at this going, wow, there's a lot to take in, but I personally love it. I think it's because I love chaos. I don't know. But I love that flower. The dried flower sticker, I just stuck it right onto the page, and now I'm just going to staple my ticket from the day right to the top of the page. I knew I would want to feature this photo because all of us are in it, and it's right in front of the castle. So I just used some double stick tape, and I put it right onto that decoupage paper, and now I'm going to add these gold corners just to make it sort of pop. And I'm already loving the way this layout is coming out. It's just so very authentically me. Yep, I love all the colors. I'm really loving this. So now what I would like to do is add some washi tape right into the center of the layout so that that little scrap of paper doesn't lift. So I'm just trying to decide what washi tape to use. I end up going with this green one with the little white flowers, and I'm just going to stick it right down into the middle, and I love the way that looks too. So I knew going into this layout when I saw this page that I did not want to cover that beautiful book page. I love the heart and I love the design. So I wished I had like a lamination pouch or something, like a clear page, but I didn't have one and I didn't want to use a whole one just for this. So instead I took some of the cellophane off of the stickers that I wanted to use, and I'm just going to use that as like a clear coat for this sort of half page you see me making. I cut some cardstock, and it's a perfect opportunity to use that Snow White book page that I love so much. And I cut it down to size so that I know it will fit into that cellophane sleeve. And I think it's a perfect little fold out page. And on the back, on that cardstock, I'm going to add photos from the day. So as you can see, it fits perfectly into that little cellophane sleeve. And now I'm just going to pick some photos from the Disney Day to put onto the back. I choose this one in front of the Millennium Falcon, and I choose another one of us on Splash Mountain. Those are both really fun memories. And I'm just going to use my double stick tape, stick them right on there. And then I'm also going to put gold corners just around the perimeter of the pictures where they're not overlapping. Again, to make them pop off of the background because it's kind of a busy background. And then once I finished that, I picked a cute little label to put at the bottom, just so I could do a little quick journaling. And actually, I think all I write is besties on there. And so once that's done, I stick it into the cellophane pocket, and then I'm going to use a thick washi tape to attach it to the side of the journal page. And first I need to trim that cellophane down because it's a little bit long. And then I'm going to pick a thick, real sticky washi tape, and I'm going to put half of the washi tape on one side of the pouch, and then the other half will go onto the journal page, so it will create a flip out. And I chose this really whimsical sort of washi tape because I love the print, and I think it looks cute with the graphic of the journal page. And it's that simple. Now I'm going to add a little more washi tape just in the center there to make sure that it's on there nice and secure, so that when people or myself are flipping it back and forth to see those photos, it will stay in place. And it's that simple. I love the way that looks. I was able to upcycle that cellophane, and I didn't cover that really pretty journal page underneath. Now I'm just going to add a couple stickers to that flip out. I love these stickers. I found them at Daiso. They're textured, and I think they look kind of vintage. So I add some flowers, and I add another one that has a little apple. It seemed appropriate because that is a vintage Snow White book page. Since I have a lot of photos and I have a lot of journaling I want to do, I go ahead and flip the page and use the other side of that page. I'm going to put a picture on there and some scraps and do a little extra creative journaling. And then on that grid paper, on the other side, I'm going to do a whole page of written journaling. So you just see me adding lots of goodies. This little scrap piece of a book page I just had to add because I just love it. It's the last little scrap I have of it, so I thought it seemed perfect to put it in there. I used some double stick tape and gold photo corners to add that picture of us. We were in line to get on the Alice in Wonderland ride. It was just the best day ever with the best people, and so doing this layout has been a blast. So next I'm going to pull out my crayon twistables. Actually, my best friend Ryan bought me these with a funny coloring book a couple years ago, and I keep them in this vintage coffee can. And what I'm going to do is use them to lightly color in the graphic on the side of this book page. It was color on one side and black and white on the other, so since it's black and white, I took this opportunity to just color it in myself. And I think it's really neat because it adds a whole different type of creativity, a little bit of a waxy texture, and a pop of color. And it's just kind of fun. Coloring is always fun. And as a side note, I highly recommend these crayon twistables for journaling if you're looking for a way to add color into your journal, because in my opinion, they almost even look like watercolor sometimes. So they're a really great tool to have, and they have a nice fine print point, so you can do a lot of kind of detail work And I just really love them. I think they're really easy to use and really fun, and I love the way they look on this layout. So now that that's done, I'm just going to add this little scrap of fabric, actually. It's like a fabric ribbon. It's been floating around my desk forever, so I just decided to glue it on so it wouldn't end up in the trash. And now I'm going to use this label. I believe I got these from an old Your Creative Studio box as well. And I'm just going to stick it right in between those two scraps. And I'm going to use my Tim Holtz Distress ink, just so it's not a bright white, just so it's a little bit more neutral and doesn't pop off the page so much. I plan on doing some journaling there. I'm just so happy with how this is turning out. So really what I'm going to focus on now is the details. So for me, the details include stamping my page with the date, which is June 1st. It also includes, I want to put this little kind of scribbly border all around that paint that I sort of painted over the words. And I'm also going to add some stickers throughout the whole layout. I think it just kind of pulls it all together and gives it kind of a finished look. I also remembered that from a past Your Creative Studio box, I had a little box of stickers that came in one, and they had a vintage Disneyland ticket. So as I was putting these stickers on, I thought to myself, oh my gosh, I have to get that sticker out and put it on this layout because it will be perfect, a little vintage Disneyland sticker. So I grabbed that box out, I find the little sticker, it's in this little vintage sticker box, and I just stick it right onto the layout because I just think it adds a sweet touch. And then the next little idea that sort of hit my head was I had some scraps of fabric from some journals I had made for my Patreon members. And so I grab that little bit of fabric, I trim it, and then I just staple it right to the top of the page. I just think it adds a cute little bit of flair. And for me, it's a memory because I really, really love the journals that I made for my Patreon members. And so it's just kind of a nice little memory for me. I just love the way this looks. I just love fabric scraps. They speak to me. And the last little bit I'm going to do before I do my journaling off camera is I'm going to add some thick washi tape to this page to add some color and some stability. And this is about it. I'm going to go do my journaling, and as soon as I have finished, I will show you the finished product. So these are my finished pages. I am so happy with how they came out. They are bright and vintage and vibrant, and I have a lot of journaling, which is what made me really happy because I have a lot to say about these people. They are my best friends, my family, and people I love that I have shared so many years of my life with. I have posted a real-time process video for this layout over on Patreon, so if you're interested, be sure to check out all the information in the description box below. So please do me a favor and give this video a like and a comment and subscribe to my channel. I hope you were inspired, and thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you so much. I hope you all have a really great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.